Higher Love, Garza. My name is Lynette Crosby. I'm creator of Arlta.com, ARLTA. All roads lead to ascension. And I am contacting other healers, light workers, energy workers, guides, in whatever form, in all communities, to help to share a message regarding water and open a dialogue so that we can start to talk about things that individually, as individual communities and collectively, that we can come together and be able to complement one another's journey and share the information that we have with each other. The reason for this video today is because my spirit team has asked me to start to speak to people like yourself and start to share the information that I have in the hopes that it will be helpful and resonate with you, and be helpful to your own personal community. So the purpose for this is water. Our water is experiencing trauma. Because of that trauma, we're experiencing the trauma. And the reality is a lot of light workers, energy workers, guides, empaths are feeling like they're taking the wrong path, they're being punished, they're learning to live with things and settle for things that they think that this is just what being awake is. It's a struggle, it's a challenge, it's you know, it's always going to be this way. I'm going to have ups, up, high, 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 and lows, low, 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 when the reality is that there is balance and joy is freedom, and the you know, the one true power is divine love, like all of the things that we know, but we haven't been able to be and live and experience that space. And the reality is that I have, and the reason I have is because my awakening started with me realizing that I was suffering from fluoride poisoning, putting things into place to change that. And then once I put those things into place to change that, I was able to work on my own awakening. The first week of changing my water filter so that it removed the fluoride from my water and taking certain supplements, I felt, for me, God's hand stuck his hand in my head, moved my right lobe over, was in there messing around, and all of a sudden, you know, the worst headache of my life in one day. And then the next thing you know, I started my true awakening, a deeper level of awakening than I had had up until that point. And you know, the hip pain went away. I went to the doctors and I was like, my hips are literally spreading apart. At the time, I didn't understand the metaphysical causes of it, but I did understand that the chemical causes of it, the sweating, the overweight. I was 250 pounds at the time. I've released 80 pounds since then, or just under 79 pounds and some change. And so I was able to find this clarity that someone who was homebound, who felt uneducatable, and who felt like I was just this lost little girl, and you know, in an adult body, faking my way through life because I had no other choices and no other way to be. And I found my peace, and I found my peace of mind, and I started to grow in my confidence and in my spirituality. I started seeing numbers, and I started speaking to my guides and my angels because I wasn't suppressed by this fluoride. So when a year ago I left my apartment, or my journey towards the end started getting harder and harder and harder, and because I started releasing what no longer served me, my angels just said, "We deliver for you. Thank you so much." Oh, I feel so blessed. So I started feeling this challenge that was unreal. I started going through a lot of energetic and psychic attack and debris, and I was, you know, in this low vibration place, and I couldn't understand what was happening to me or why. And for 1 year, I thought these attacks were coming at me because I had made the wrong move. Because when I moved from my apartment, I had energetic blocks behind money. I had got a big settlement, and I ended up blowing the money out of fear. I got a, thank you. I needed that message. Stepping out of my comfort zone, making this message is definitely, it definitely is something that's like, wow. And I really had to do some energetic processing prior to making this message. So I asked for, confirmations and help, and they delivered. And there it goes again. We deliver for you. So thank you. So yeah, when I was going through those things, I thought it was because I was being punished, or I had something to process spiritually, and I was processing, every emotion that I felt in my body. I was looking for the spiritual, metaphysical causes of it. And then one day, I saw a friend of mine. It was actually a relationship I had for 11 years. And he came by my house, and he was like biting on his nails. And I looked, and his nail bed had grown out. And it was like this thick and huge deformed thing. But it wasn't on one nail. It was on every single finger of his hand. And something in me got real calm and said, oh my God, it's radiation poisoning. And I to hear that, and I went into a state of peace. I went into a state of complete peace, because when you think about radiation, it's an experience. And the radiation in the water is not it's radiation like they taught us. That's not what it is. It's a slow accumulation of radioactive particles that builds up in the body over time. These bouts of flu that we have and these bouts of, the colds and all the things we get are our body's way of telling us, there's a lot of radiation in the body. And there's things that we can do to remove it. And you have to understand that what we've been taught about radiation has been so traumatizing, so that if they ever say radiation to us, that a lot of people will go into panic when it's not a need for that. So I'm pausing because I want to make sure I say it in the right way, that I come from my heart and love, because I choose to teach from divine love. And when we hear radiation, we're not necessarily sure how to take that. But here is what I took from it as I got into my state of peace. What I was able to understand was, number one, there are solutions. And the solutions are actually easy and simple. But it's radiation. It's chemicals in the water, and it's an experience that we're all having. As light workers, it's what keeps us in the fright zone. It's what keeps us off of our journey. It interrupts our thought patterns. It makes our memory issues, constipation, dehydration, insomnia, all of the things that interfere with this beautiful crystal that is our body. It interferes with our ability to love and communicate with one another, because we're angry all the time because of the pain that our soul and spirit and energy body and all parts of us, known and unknown, revealed and yet to be revealed, are going through. Our soul is open to psychic attack. So the anxiety that we're having in this moment, in this presence moment that we're having, when our soul is being tortured energetically or hurt energetically or whatever it's going through, and it's trying to get our attention, but we can't hear it because we're experiencing the trauma that our water is experiencing. And that's the best way to say it. Our water is experiencing trauma, and therefore we are experiencing trauma. If our water is not right, we're not right, we're 70 to 90% water, that should be our priority as light workers. How do we share this information with one another? How do we get this good dialogue going about this and other things? Our animals and our children are open to this, and they're experiencing this. And the things that I found are a shower filter that has a copper coil that structures the water. It has zeolite in it. I don't sell it, I don't make it. It's from a company called Omica Organics, O-M-I-C-A, Organics, and they sell the shower filter, and it's a structured water shower filter that you put on your shower, and then you can shower in this beautiful high vibrational water, and it literally says that right on there. On top of that, selenium and iodine support the thyroid and the endocrine system and the adrenal glands, so our body's fight or flight response is not coming from fear, that we raise our vibration and we're able to communicate better and be present and start to look, because when our base needs aren't met, we just go towards that, you know, when our base needs aren't met, we go towards, you know, we can't look above that. You know, we can't look above that level. If you are worried about where you're going to stay and, you know, stuff is messing with you at night and you're suffering from insomnia, no one can function from that place. And zeolite crystals and powders, they've used zeolite. They actually poured it around all Chernobyl because it actually has a cage-like structure. There's zeolite powders and there's zeolite crystals, and they absorb radiation, and they do it in a way that does not damage the body, so we don't go through trauma when it's leaving us. It's actually such an amazing, relaxing, nurturing feeling because it raises the vibration and removes it out of the body. They have internal, so they have liquid and powder internally. They have an external zeolite powder that you can actually bathe in. But you have to have the shower filter in order to do it. You can't add it to water that has radiation and trihalomethane and fluoride and all the other chemicals and stuff that our water has in it, and then add zeolite and sit in that water, because eventually that water will start to damage you because the zeolite powder is so busy trying to absorb what is in the water. It doesn't have, it's a fight to try to help us. 1 or 2 times having the experience with it, you'll feel good, but after a while, you'll start to feel sick or not feel well. Or the symptoms that you're already having that we think are normal will come back. And then, the selenium and the iodine, that powerhouse team that works together to displace the fluoride from the thyroid, so that we're not feeling stuck and I mean, being off of fluoride for 6 months, my IQ raised. I could drive on the highway I had my license from 18 to 38, so 20 years, and I never drove on the highway. After I got off of fluoride 7 years ago, I started driving on the highway, and I remember the first time I ever drove on the highway, it was definitely a plan. It wasn't something that I was like, oh, everything's great. I was aware that I was driving on the highway, but I had the desire to do it. I had the motivation to do it. I had the inspiration to do it, which I never had before. And my biggest fear that I had regarding driving was being stuck on the highway and 18-wheelers and buses and all this stuff. And I was sitting in traffic for 45 minutes with 18-wheelers and buses all around me. And after 45 minutes of sitting in traffic, I burst out in tears. But I didn't burst out in tears because of the traffic. I burst out in tears because I didn't realize that I was sitting in traffic with all those things around me. And I said, oh my God, I was suffering from fluoride poisoning my whole life. It had me held back my whole life. And in that moment, I had a fear that I had missed out on something. When I realized that I didn't miss out on anything, because there's no such thing as time. So but that took me some years to get, and I got it. But I was like, how many people are going through this and don't know it? And that brings me to today. How many people are going through their journey? How many people are going through their journey, just everyday people who aren't awake yet, thinking that this is the life that they're supposed to live? How many people who are awake thinking that they're not doing their journey right because these things aren't going right and they're not flowing, when the reality is the interruption is the trauma the water is experiencing. So I wanted to share this with you. I hope that it resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, I want to say thank you for your time. I want to say thank you for your energy that you've expended by watching this video. And I want you to understand that I understand that no empowers me to stay on my journey and you to stay on yours. If you do want to contact me in the email itself, you can respond to it. You can email me at arelta@arelta.com, or you can call me at the number that I provided in the email. I thank you for the work that you have been doing. I found you on Instagram, and I love the energy over at Instagram, because that's where I found other people that were like me, that I could see that was like me, because I've been very, very isolated in my journey, because I was never included in anything, which was a blessing, because I didn't accept my programming. So that's it. Lynette Crosby, Have faith in yourself and continue to have faith in humanity and spread your light as you have been doing beautifully. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.